Hi, friends. I just wanted to hop on here really quick before the episode started to say thank you so much if you watch this. Like, you don't really understand how much I appreciate that. I would really appreciate you subscribing here on YouTube or any of the podcast platforms that you're listening to. Leave me a rating, leave me a comment, leave me a like talk to me. I would really love to talk to people. Most importantly, though, make sure to check out in my description is the link to my website, babblings.substack.com. My Substack is the one-stop shop for all things Babblings. If you're interested, my weekly writing one-offs that are personal essays, ramblings, journal entries, maybe some pictures of my cat. Eventually, also the Babblings Report, which are the corresponding newsletters that go with these more in-depth podcast episodes, are all there in a host of tons of information resources, and will continue to be a library of resources if you're interested. Definitely, if you're interested, subscribe to my Substack. All you need to do is subscribe with your email. I do not overrun you with subscription emails. You only get an email when I post something so you can stay up to date. And if you don't want to open it, God bless. You don't have to, but I would appreciate your support. Another thing I wanted to note quickly is that in this week's Babblings Report that goes with this episode, not only are there resources and references linked about things that I talked about, but I forgot to mention there's going to be a cute little nifty section of all of my favorite fashion influencers. So people that I go to and that can talk a lot more articulately, see, exactly, people that can articulate the points better and have much more experience in the fashion world. This is just, my opinion and from what I've experienced and how I've been building my own personal style. But so there's lots of people there, and I would refer you to go to them for any more advice. Without further ado, please enjoy the episode. Do I sound good? Ooh, I sound sexy. Hey there, welcome back to Babblings. I missed you, babes. Welcome back. I missed you. I hope you missed me. I hope you're having a fabulous week. It's Wednesday, January 22nd. As I'm recording this, and it's a nice little winter night. It has been so cold in DC. I live in DC, and oh my god, you guys, it has been so cold this week. It's been so crazy. It really just below 25, which is pretty intense for DC. It really does not get that cold, I feel, on the regular or for this consecutive amount of days below the Mason-Dixon line. And so we're all really going through it. I'm in my little basement freezing. I turned the stove on to warm up. That's because I know how to survive. Some of you bitches would just be in here cold. I said, no, I know what to do. Turn on the oven, crack it that shit a bit, leave it on for an hour. You'll be good for a while. And that's what you do when you're adaptable. Street smarts, baby. I've always got them. I always will. I actually used to think about this when I was younger because my mom had me when she was 19, and I was the first kid of all of her friends, and so I was always very surrounded by adults, and also had a very young mother figuring out the world. And I kind of thought when I was younger that in order for my kids to turn out the way that I have, with survival skills and adaptability and think on your feet smart, that they had to grow up the same way that I did. And that would mean getting your electric cut off, or not having hot water for a couple months, or living in someone's living room. Those are all the experiences that forged me to be who I am. And I thought that I had to put my kid through that to give them some toughness. But I've learned since then that I don't need to recreate my childhood and traumatize my future children. But maybe I will do drills. I'll turn off the electricity and oh no, the electricity's out. What do you do? So maybe I'll do drills, but I won't make them be without hot water. It's honestly been kind of a crazy week. We'll get into it a little bit with current events, but being in DC the vibes are weird. I'll just say that. As someone that really kind of grew up down here and graduated high school down here, not necessarily a DC native, but spent a lot of my formative years here. It saddens me because unless you're from here, you really don't understand how beautiful and amazing DC is. you don't understand the like deep cultural history of Chocolate City, which is DC. You don't understand that real people live here, real families live here. It's not just politicians or transplants. There are people that really live here, and there are people that have lived here for generations or have generational homes that are often being taken. People are buying them and then flipping them and then selling them for so much more. Hashtag gentrification. You don't need me to explain it to you, but it's just heartening because I feel like DC really gets caught in the crossfires. It's just a shame because DC really is such a beautiful place with deep history that's not just this like political American government history. It's deeply rooted in cultures. It's very culturally diverse. It's just a beautiful little, couple miles of this district that has done everything that has been within its power for it to be able to thrive in the way that it has. DC has fought for statehood for a very long time, and we have continuously been denied. If you ever come visit DC, you'll see on license plates, no taxation without representation. That's not just like a funny callback, to the American Revolution. That's because people that live in DC are being taxed by the federal government without having representation in the House or Senate to the fullest extent. So it's just kind of, once again, DC is kind of being infiltrated by these external people, that aren't from here. And it's hurtful that there are a certain group of people making their way to Washington, that their perfect version of Washington does not include the people that really live in the city, are native to the city, and built this city. I think I mentioned in my last podcast, my word for the year is joy. And so I have just been trying to continuously find joy in little moments. Writing my daily gratitudes has been a big way of finding like the little joys in life and just changing my perspective. Finding joy in my relationships, but really like finding joy within myself. I am so happy being single, and I'm not even looking really at all. And it's really nice. And, obviously there's like the crew, that wants to come in and out and stuff. But there are some people I'm interested in certain ways or another, but it's just not like maybe the right time since we've met. Like we kind of talked in the last like year and a half. And it just hasn't really panned out, but I kind of like that because there are people that I would actually like, So it's like, if it ever happens, it happens. If not, keep liking my Instagram posts. But yeah, really just enjoying time with people, but mostly enjoying time with myself. Still really like in a wintering phase, in a wintering moment. Honestly, enjoying winter. I've had a couple conversations where people are like, I'm so ready for spring. I'm so ready for spring. And I'm like, honestly, you guys, I'm kind of like enjoying winter and leaning into the hibernation. I'm starting to get a little bit ready for spring, but I'm enjoying the present, and that's all you can do. Speaking of the present moment, let's go ahead and pull a card. I grabbed my Neopets tarot deck. I just felt like they're just so cute. It's the Neopets. Does anybody else love Neopets when they were a kid? I shuffled this a little bit already, but let me put the mic down and get a card out for us. I have some sort of cut on my finger. I don't know what it's from. Maybe like a paper cut or a splinter. Okay, what card fell out? The Queen of Swords. Interesting. I don't know if you can see it at all, or if it'll focus at all. I can't tell. The quality of the playback is not the quality of what it will actually be, so I can't tell. Queen of Swords. Interesting. Where can I prop her up? Prop her up over here. Oh, you guys like my little angel that my mom got me? So cute. It's me as an angel, because I am one. The Queen of Swords. And this is a really interesting picture because it's Neopets, so it's not like the traditional imagery that goes with it. The sword, it's so dark. It's almost like it's making me want to like try and turn up the screen brightness, like as if this was a phone. Like it's so dark. interesting. And she's kind of sneaking away. It's almost as someone is reaching out for her and she's continuing to move. She's looking back though. She's a little hesitant. Well, listen, I love this for us because I love the Queen of Swords. And I'm actually in some real deep Queen of Swords energy. And once again, I don't know if this is just my own energy or if it's for you. I can't tell. So you'll have to let me know if you resonate with it or if this is just a confirmation message for me. But the Queen of Swords is very intellectual. We're dealing with air. She's up in the mind. She has kind of a clear vision. In traditional imagery, she's pointing forward with her sword from her throne, but she's kind of surrounded by clouds. And there's, to me, always been this sense of being able to see the way forward or sort your way through the clouds and through the confusion to get forward. And especially since she's the queen, that can be really emotional and internal. So I mean, for me, it just really resonates because right now I am very focused. I'm very determined and I have a path set forward. It's not completely clear how it's going to go. There's a lot of clouds. There's some murky spots, but I trust my intuition. I trust my intellect and my experience to continue putting one foot forward and to use that sword. Do you guys like I just realized I'm really doing a lot of movement, maybe like an interpretive dance. Oh, I mean, I am a dance teacher. You know what I mean. I'm trusting that the path will be laid before me, and I'm trusting that I know myself well enough and I have enough skill to place those stones in front of me and to kind of make them appear out of nowhere. So if you're in that kind of energy where you're very focused, you're very determined, and you see a bigger picture, you don't know exactly how it's going to get there, but you know where to go. Just instinctively and intuitively, that may be what the Queen of Swords message is for you, and to continue with that movement. Air is also, can get into some communication, so, but always with the Queen, you can either look at it as very literal, like a literal feminine figure of a queen and a masculine figure of a king, man and woman, or you can also look at it, just as energies, feminine energy versus masculine energy, and that really I don't think is related to a specific sex or gender. But then you can also look at it as the internal versus the external. The queen is the internal and the king is the external. I don't know, now that I look back at this image, it does feel like with this image, because I was really thinking about the traditional imagery, but with this one, it is almost like she's maybe avoiding something, because also the Queen of Swords sometimes can represent for me when I'm over intellectualizing my emotions. So maybe that might resonate more for you, and where you need to really look internally, look at those thought patterns, look at those feelings and feel them. Maybe you need to come out of the Queen of Swords energy. Let me pull another card. Okay, the King of Cups and the Star came out. This goes with both of the things that I was saying. So those two different messages might resonate for different people. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But the King of Cups and the Star, to me, reinforces both messages that I just said. Either there is a path forward and you're going to follow that cup and follow it to destiny, to your star, which would be the star, and you're going in on that wish fulfillment, and you really have a good understanding of how fulfilling that and happy that would emotionally make you. Or you're in the Queen of Swords energy, and in order to get to your star, you need to move into more of a King of Cups energy, which would be really feeling those emotions, understanding those emotions, and being able to communicate those emotions externally. So take whatever resonates, leave the rest. All right, well, enough of that. Let us turn our attention to some current events. I said that like they were going to be exciting, and they're not. They're not super exciting. On Monday, January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump was inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States. This will be his second term. Moments later, during the inauguration, Elon Musk did a Nazi salute. So you draw your connections there. On January 19th, the ceasefire in Gaza began after 15 months of war. Listen, hopefully the people in Gaza, the Palestinians, and even the people in Israel, everybody that's been involved, maybe they can just have a few moments. This is not the end. It will not be the end of violence, most likely. And will there ever truly be peace? I don't know. But maybe there can at least be some respite, and some people can at least return to their homes instead of being in camps for at least a little while, until they're forced out of their homes again. The greater LA fires continue to blaze on. As I'm recording, a new fire, the Hughes fire, has expanded over to 8,000 acres as of literally a couple hours ago. This is Wednesday, January 22nd. So that was a new fire that popped up. I will link resources in the newsletter that will accompany this podcast. It'll be the Babblings Report linked down below. Within that newsletter, I will have resources for the firefighters in LA and also ways that you can donate to help affected families. This has really been on my heart after losing my home and having to move over the summer and my things. So fire trauma is indescribable until you go through it, much like any probably climate disaster trauma is. There's something extremely humbling and also terrifying when it is the environment attacking you and not a person, not a robot, not an animal. When the earth attacks, there's only so much that you can do, and so also, which goes back to shout out to those firefighters, shout out to the incarcerated firefighters. Linked below in the newsletter and just linked in the description of this podcast episode on YouTube, and it should also be in the episode notes on the podcast platform that you may be listening to, is a really great article from The Guardian about the incarcerated firefighters. They are working on the front lines doing all of this, and they're making $10.24 a day. And don't give me the whole, well, they're incarcerated thing, because putting your life on the line is putting your life on the line no matter what. And imagine how much more set up these people would be if they made more and were able to save up more. If we want real rehabilitation and to set them up for success, these kinds of programs are great, but it's only to a certain extent if you're not giving them the real benefits of doing the work, and you're also not treating them like they're actually fighting for people's lives, because firefighting is scary. Walking out of a building on fire is scary. I do want to just, again, with some of the current things that are going on, I know a lot of people are scared. I've talked to a lot of people that are scared, and are feeling like they don't know what to do. But ultimately, really what you can be doing and should continue to be doing is just learning, listening to different podcasts, watching, TikToks for however long we can continue to freely speak over there, if we even still can, reading books, but also really just talking with your community. And a lot of people say community, for a lot of us, that's your family. Talking to your family, having these conversations about why something shouldn't be happening, or how something could be happening, and how they could or could not be in danger, or what they can do to prepare in the event of such things. The world will continue to blaze on. America is not alone. It's happening all over the world, and the world will continue to descend into fascist madness. But that also does not mean that the climate is not coming for us. ultimately the climate is coming for us. And while we do need to prepare to be able to handle any sort of like political threats to our independence and safety, we also need to be preparing for major climate disasters. Hurricane Helene, the wildfires. It's just going to get worse. So if you're feeling like really powerless and you don't know what to do with all of this built up energy in you, make a plan. Start planning. It's not all going to happen tomorrow. These like cataclysmic events that I like talk about aren't going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen slowly and over time. So you have time to plan and to begin preparing. Make a plan, then make a plan on how you're going to prepare. And putting your energy into something like that, I have found actually really is constructive and does make me feel better, because honestly, what's going to happen in the world is going to happen, and whether you're prepared or not, it doesn't really matter if fate is not on your side. So if you want to plan to make yourself feel better, go ahead and do it. If you're watching this on video, I'm pointing to Celine. I know she looks like she's blending in, but she's there. Oh, she's there. She said, leave me alone. You're so warm and cuddly, though. My hands are cold. You're so warm. You're so warm. My main topic today is something that I have been thinking about, talking about, and kind of creating an outline for a couple of months now. I just kind of want to talk about my thoughts around fast fashion, sustainable shopping, and why I think I've come to the conclusion that ultimately you can't manufacture style. And I feel like I continue to see so many people trying to manufacture that in a way. Like, I see videos of people buying, brand new bags and then like beating the shit out of them and marking them up and making them horrible to get that worn in, excuse me ma'am, you can't go up there, to get that worn in Jane Birkin look, or wanting to look like the Olsen twins, that kind of like grunge worn look. But the tea with that is that they were actually worn in and dirty things because they were actually being used every day. And using something every day over and over and over again actually is kind of the opposite of being an overconsumer, right? If you keep buying new things, nothing's going to ever look aged or worn. And it seems like within the past year, this idea of something being worn or used or old or like lived in has become kind of the essential plot of what people are describing as stylish, or what people are aspiring to be in order to be stylish. And I understand that, right? Because we're looking at a lot of stylish icons and that's what they look like. The missing link to that, though, is that it takes time. Fast fashion and TikTok and these trends like dark aesthetic, dark academia, there's like the 70s aesthetic. I don't know. There's new names for these aesthetics all of the time, and people are constantly trying to cycle through and find their aesthetic, or even tips like high contrast makeup, low contrast makeup, a 7-point outfit, right? You have to have 7 points, and there is a formula to style, especially if you're doing it editorially and you're doing it within the fashion world. There is a kind of there is a formula and math bit to creating something that's visually appealing for the masses to consume. But when we're talking about our personal style and things we wear every day, we need to be dressing for ourselves. Over the summer, I remember seeing all of these like videos and posts and all these different things of with girls in flip-flops, and it was like people just discovered flip-flops, and it was the most bizarre thing to me in the world, because do you not know what a flip-flop is? Have you never seen a flip-flop before? Right? But a flip-flop only then becomes chic once the elites are wearing it, right? Or it's inaccessible to the masses and it's more expensive, so only the few can have it. That makes it much more chic, and then that's when Walmart and Target, and it's like they start putting out the flip-flops that they've been putting out for years. It's the same flip-flops. All of a sudden, flip-flops are flying off the shelves because they're dupes for that fancy brand of flip-flops, and people are like, they're so convenient, they're so chic, they're so portable, blah 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 blah. Yeah, because they're a fucking flip-flop. It's nothing new. We all wear flip-flop. Like, have you never worn a flip-flop before? Am I the only one that has like the childhood core memory of going to Old Navy and picking out your $5 flip-flops every summer? Like the whole wall, the rainbow wall, and the display of all the different flip-flops. And it's like, what color flip-flops do I want to wear this summer? Maybe that's just like a poor thing. I guess that's what it is, right? Because that's not cool. You have to go buy those because you don't have any money. But when you have all the money in the world and you then decide to spend $500 on a pair of little slinky flip-flops, then it's cool. And the trends come and go. There's trends, there's micro trends, there's sub trends to the micro trends, coming and going every day. And trends are great, right? I think it's fun to participate communally in something and to all be excited together about a specific product or a movie coming out or a show or a new book coming out. We can feel that same way where, oh, there's a new trend and everyone's wearing lilac baseball caps. Oh my gosh. And then you wear those and you see them out and it signifies, oh, you're a person that likes similar things as me. You are cool too. Like, that sense of it is fun. However, trends just endorse fast fashion and continually consuming over and over and over and over. And when you're not just occasionally dipping in and out of trends, when you're consistently changing your image for every trend and buying a new wardrobe for every trend, why do you think none of your things look worn and are used? Because they don't get used. You have no sense of concrete self. Consuming and following the trends and trying to find your aesthetic is ultimately what's contributing to you having a lack of personal style. When you don't have your concrete wardrobe that you feel comfortable going back to over and over again to mix together and recreate and rearrange outfits, when you're not comfortable and confident in the silhouettes that you like, in the fabrics that you like, in the colors and tones that you like, you're going to very easily get swept up into all of these trends versus being like, oh, that's fun, I'll participate in that, and then, oh, well, I don't really actually like that, so I'm not going to do it because I don't feel the need to, because I have this whole wardrobe that I'm actually very invested in and very comfortable with and helps me express myself without that added trend. You're stuck in the trap of fast fashion. Now, I feel like everybody talks about fast fashion, everybody refers to it, but let's be clear about what fast fashion is. Fast fashion refers to affordable yet fashionable garments that are cheaply produced and quickly abandoned in favor of new styles. Now, that's not even a definition I fucking wrote, you guys. I got that out of a fucking paper that I will be linking below. Where did I get that from? I got that from The Fast Fashion Footprint, How Clothes Are Destroying Our Planet and Growing Impacts of Fast Fashion. That literally just summed up everything that I just said, especially in those last few words, quickly abandoned in favor of new styles, consistently being turned over, bought and throw out, buy and throw out, buy and throw out, buy and throw out. Not only are you wasting your money, but you're being very harmful to the environment. As consumers actively seek trendy clothing at affordable prices, this is also from the same scholarly article. This is from the same paper that I was talking about earlier. Fast fashion brands such as Zara, H&M, Gap, Forever 21, Topshop, eSpirit, Primark, Fashion Nova, and New Look have imitated the distinctive looks of high-end designers and sold their products at a fraction of the price. Consequently, the current fashion market is characterized by ever-changing trends. In other words, what is fashionable today can change in an instant based on a variety of factors, such as social media effects, celebrity couture looks, and pop culture, among others. And so when we talk about shopping sustainably, and I feel like the argument to fast fashion is always, well, it's cheap, it's accessible, I can't spend blah, 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 blah. And that's true to an extent, because I do think you can thrift, although I do think there is overconsumption with thrifting, which is a whole other thing that it still contributes to fast fashion when you're doing thrifting via trends and really you're just like holding trash for a couple of months and then placing trash in another place, and we're all just like moving trash around the earth because there's nowhere left to put the fucking trash. Anyways. What was I saying? Shit. But it takes a little bit of patience to invest in things because you have to, one, save up for it. It might take longer to get, and you have to get things at a slower pace. If you have a certain company like I do, they're a little bit more expensive. Tala, I love their activewear. They're a UK-based brand. They're environmentally friendly. There's a whole slew of things about why I love this company. And that's, another part of it is investigating where you're consuming from and understanding why you're consuming there and making critical and specific and intentional choices about where you're going to consume from. And so I'm going to consume from Tala. The leggings are $98 and I can't buy 5 pairs of leggings at $98 a piece. I just can't. I can't even buy 2 pairs. I can buy 1 pair after is my monthly splurge. So I can buy 1 pair and then a couple of months later I'll buy another pair. But these are really good quality things coming from a quality company. And so I'm comfortable doing that, and I'm building a wardrobe that will then last. With those cheaper products, they're not going to last as long. So they're going to go in the trash sooner, causing you to have to buy things sooner again, continuing that cycle. And this has a huge impact on our environment and on the earth and on people. I have another quote for you, and it's talking about how China is a leading exporter, but the US and the EU consume more than half of the industry's output. But Africa, particularly East and West African nations, are drowned under the weight of secondhand goods dumped at their shores. And I can't think of the title of the video documentary right now, but I will link it in the article. There's this really great, I think, Vice documentary, and I'm sure there are more, documenting how just overrun some of these coastal nations in Africa are with all of our trash, all of the clothing that we have just consumed and thrown away. They've literally built their entire commerce around reselling that trash. Another paper that I found, The Impact of Fast Fashion on Sustainability, an Eco-Friendly Environment in Fashion Design World. And I just have some numbers for you. Globally, an estimated 92 million tons of textile waste are produced annually, which is the equivalent of a dump truck's load of clothing ending up in landfills every second because so little gets recycled. We waste enough textile products that it could be a full dump truck dumping every second of the day for a year is the equivalent amount. I mean, with me just talking, there are about 40 trucks that would have just dumped. I mean, that's crazy. with 1.7 million tons of CO2 emitted annually, which is 10% of all greenhouse gas emissions. Just fast fashion waste is 10% of all greenhouse gas emissions. To produce just one cotton t-shirt, it takes between 10,000 and 20,000 liters of water, or about 3,000 liters of water per kilo of raw cotton. Consider this in the context of a global industry that sells around 2 billion cotton t-shirts annually. One shirt could be 20,000 liters of water to make. We need that water. We're in a water shortage. When we're putting 20,000 liters of it towards one cotton shirt, and we're making 2 billion cotton shirts a year. Currently, there's a notable surge in the demand for clothing, with projections indicating a rise from 62 million tons in 2015 to 102 million tons in 2030. This problem is not going away, and all we can do is do our best to not be a part of it and to not contribute to it in the best ways that we can. No one person, I think, can live a normal life and completely reduce all of the waste that they produce from clothing. We can do our best to lower it for sure through thrifting, through exchanging clothing with friends and within our community. We can do that by making our own clothing, which would involve learning to sew and buying, the materials, but then you're making it yourself, right? And you're not paying someone in Indonesia 75 cents to make it. So that would be nice. And doing all of these things actually come down to you creating a personal style. Having foundational pieces in your wardrobe that you're going to not throw out in 6 months or a year or even 5 years. Having those pieces that you are going to wear for 20 years that are eventually going to look lived in and worn because you've been doing it. I think the easiest way to build your personal style is to just live and to see what naturally comes to you. Like these glasses, this is not a fashion statement, I, one, need glasses in order to see, and two, I lost my glasses last summer, and I was with my aunt, and she had these, and we have a similar prescription, and they're not the style that I would prefer on my face, but I wore them, and now I kind of freaking dig them, and it's just kind of a coincidence that all the other motherfuckers started wearing little tiny glasses too. This is me just living my life, but now it's kind of starting to become a part of my personal style, and I'm starting to dig it, and it's starting to feel like me, and that's kind of how that happens. You have to try things out, see what happens, and just live your life. And maybe when you're in a flea market, you consistently pick up Western little jewelry and trinkets, and then you kind of I really actually do like cowboy boots. It's not just a trend, it's that I actually like cowboy boots, and so you go and you do your research to find actual cowboy boots that would actually make sense for you and for where you live and what would you be doing with them. But also, don't get cowboy boots if you don't need cowboy boots, right? Does that make sense for you? If it's not the life you live, right? And it's really okay to be an outfit repeater. I don't know why we ever thought that we can't. I think it's actually really good, and it then, I think, in turn makes you more creative when you have less to work with and less at your disposal. How are you going to mix the different elements together? I think makes you more creative and ultimately could create more of an interesting outfit if that's what you're going for. Now, and I'm not saying all of this to want to limit anyone or to say that what you like isn't what you should like. I just want you to really authentically know whether you like something or not. Because you might not like something, and you might only be liking something because everybody else likes it. And it takes a little bit of self-reflection and some honesty with yourself, Queen of Swords energy, to say, do I actually like that? Am I actually inherently drawn to that? Do I actually really feel like that will add value to my life? Yes or no? And probably a lot of the times it really should be no. And it takes ultimately time, patience, and self reflection to find out really what you like and what you don't. We're in such a rush to have those worn in looks now, to have the fanciest things now, to have what everyone else has because that's what's going to elevate our status among our peers, and we need to have it now. And this over consumerism and need for instancy is harming to your sense of style. And who are you going to be, in 30 years? Are you still going to be following trend after trend after trend if you don't take the time to really do some self-discovery? We as a culture are obsessed with just over consumerism and this need for instant gratification, and we'll do anything to get it. We'll spend the money, we'll do the things, we'll beat up a brand new bag, whatever we need to do to be able to look how we want to look as soon as possible. But then where is all of the character in that? Where are all of the stories? Where are the details? Where is the heart and soul of what you're doing if it hasn't taken the time to mature and grow and change and be used? I just wish we would use our things. I look around my apartment and pretty much everything in here has a story, and it's not, that it's from Amazon. But that means that I've had to take time to intentionally find certain pieces, or also be okay with getting hand-me-downs. It may not look, the nicest. It might not look like what everyone else is, buying for their places, but I'm just thinking about my dresser, for example. It's a hand-me-down, and it may not look like everybody else's dressers at the moment, but it's like real solid wood, and that is a very important resource to have, and it's beautiful the way that it is, and it goes with my eclectic vibe, and I'm able to create an environment around it like cohesively, and that takes creativity. Maybe some of y'all are just like scared to be creative. Gimme, 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 gimme. How about go out and find it for yourself? How about challenge yourself? How about just live your life and see what comes to you, what speaks to you, and be authentically you? I think for a long time, I thought that I was trying to emulate this certain persona, and then I realized, no, that's just who I am. The glasses, the hair. I mostly wear black. I go for more like, if I'm putting an outfit together, I go for like something a little sleeker, kind of a silhouette. I don't do a lot of color, and that's just who I am. It's not me trying to be somebody. It's not me trying to be a certain aesthetic on Pinterest. It's just what I like and what calls to me. I like real jewelry, so I'm very intentionally buying and over time creating my collection. It's not going to all happen at once. I don't have the funds to buy vintage 14 karat gold jewelry, like 10,000 pieces all at once, but I can buy one piece every once in a while and build up this collection of really beautiful, well crafted, real gold jewelry that will then last me a lifetime, right? And be something that I can pass down to my children. There is worth in quality materials. A lot of it is overpriced. That's also why you guys want Gucci and Dior and blah, 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 blah. Is it actually like nice materials though? some of the stuff they sell, unless it's couture, it's really like not like the nicest stuff you could buy, just because of the name is why it's priced that way. It's not necessarily always the nicest fabric you can find. Now, certain companies, yes, are known for selling, cashmere, 100% cashmere, 100% silk, or like I was talking about my yoga pants earlier with Tala. They have this really beautiful fabric that really like holds you in, but is really flexible with movement, and it has this great bounce back consistency. Like, it's a really beautiful fabric. Understanding those kinds of things, like, just because it has a high price tag on it doesn't mean that it's a quality thing. Just because something's brand new also doesn't mean that it's a quality product as well. So yeah, those are just my tips from a bitch who was thrifting before any of you guys ever even thought about thrifting, to be honest. Okay? To be honest. I'll be honest about that. And I'm coming to you live with my hair a disaster and my aunt's hand-me-down glasses, this sweatshirt that was my grandpa's that I cut, and these green leggings. I'm not coming to you in any type of pretentious manner, except to say there is something that you can do to get out of the fast fashion trap, and that's create and grow your own personal style and work on your sustainable purchasing practices. Anyways, I'll clit, Allie? Really? My clit? No. Okay. Anyways, I will quit babbling and I'll let you guys go. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll see you in 2 weeks with a bit of a ramble episode. Who knows what the current events will be by then. God bless. Stay safe. Stay alert. Remember who the real enemy is, Katniss. Love you.